They say the quiet ones are easy to break. She believed that too. She called me weak. She stole the only person I loved. And when I fell apart, she laughed, not like someone who won but like someone who wanted to destroy. But what she didn't know was that the girl she broke that night wasn't the girl who would come back for her. While she was laughing, I was watching. While she was celebrating, I was planning. While she thought she'd won, I was learning exactly how to burn her entire world down without lighting a single match. This isn't a love story. This is a reckoning. The night everything shattered was warm, sticky, and suffocating. I remember that detail because it's burned into me, the kind of memory that doesn't fade, no matter how many years pass. Daniel had called me that afternoon, his voice warm, familiar, safe. He said he had a surprise. We'd been together for 3 years. We'd built a life that I thought was solid. I wore the emerald dress he loved. I curled my hair the way he liked. I told myself this would be the night he proposed. When I walked into the country club's private hall, soft jazz floated in the air. Champagne glasses sparkled under chandeliers. Everyone was already gathered. Daniel's friends, some of mine, and her. Chloe. She stood at the center of the room, wearing a white silk dress that clung to her like it had been tailored by the gods themselves. Her lipstick was a sharp crimson slash. I should have known. She always needed to be the center of attention. And then Daniel stepped out beside her. My smile froze. I watched his hand slide into hers, watched the way their fingers fit. The silence in the room thickened. And then Chloe laughed, that rehearsed honey-coated laugh she always used when she wanted to humiliate me. Everyone, she said, raising her hand with a diamond ring that caught the light like a blade. Daniel and I are engaged. The applause was deafening. But beneath it, I could hear my heart tearing. Daniel didn't look at me. Not once. Chloe did. She smirked, leaned in close as the crowd hugged them, and whispered in my ear, "Told you he'd never stay with someone like you. You're too soft. Too weak." And then she walked away, with my future in her hand. I stumbled out of that room, my breath catching like barbed wire in my throat. My tears burned hot against the cool night air. But she followed me. Because Chloe was never content with just winning. She needed to make sure I knew she won. She found me by the fountain. "You should have seen your face," she laughed, not even trying to hide it. Pathetic. "Why?" I whispered. "You were my friend." "Friend?" She tilted her head, pretending to think. "No, sweetheart. You were just a placeholder. He was always going to be mine. People like him don't end up with you." That broke something inside me. I cried, and she laughed harder. And in that exact moment, through the blur of tears and humiliation, something else shifted. A seed was planted. A quiet, cold seed. People think revenge is born in rage. It isn't. It's born in silence. For months, I disappeared. Not physically. I still went to work, still existed, but emotionally, I pulled everything inward. I let the world believe I was broken. That was my first weapon. People underestimate the broken. They stop watching. I took a new job, far away from the places Chloe loved to parade through. She liked being the sun. I preferred being the shadow. Her father owned a chain of luxury real estate firms. I got a position at a PR agency that quietly handled several of their accounts. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a door. And once you're inside, doors open themselves. While Chloe was busy showing off her wedding dress and ring on Instagram, I was learning things. Quietly, patiently. Daniel wasn't the saint I'd painted him as. He had debts. Serious ones. Chloe's father had fixed those problems in exchange for Daniel's loyalty. And Chloe? She wasn't faithful. Not to Daniel. Not to anyone. She had a lover in New York, an art dealer with a gambling addiction. There were bank transfers, hotel receipts, photographs. I collected everything. Every lie. Every secret. I went to therapy. Started running. I rebuilt my body. My voice. My silence hardened into steel. I stopped crying. Started smiling again. But differently this time. Not the soft smile Daniel used to love. A sharper one. By the time their wedding invitations arrived in the mail, cream with gold lettering, embossed with their initials, I had a file the size of a brick. But I didn't want to just expose her.
No.
I wanted her to feel what I'd felt. The panic. The collapse. The moment the world tilts under your feet. Revenge, I learned, isn't about screaming. It's about precision. I sent anonymous tips. Whispered rumors. Pulled strings at her father's firm. Slowly, very slowly, the cracks began to form beneath the flawless surface of Chloe's perfect little world. Her father's company was under quiet IRS review. Her lover was being investigated for fraud. And Daniel's name was linked to it all. But no one knew where the storm was coming from. The night before the wedding, I stood on my balcony, holding a glass of wine, and whispered to the dark, "Tomorrow, Chloe, you'll understand why silence is so dangerous." The day of the wedding was perfect. Sunlight spilled like honey across the estate. Everything was white, white roses, white chairs, white dresses. A fairy tale. Except this fairy tale had a monster.
And it wasn't me.
I arrived quietly, wearing a dark green dress. The color of envy. Of calm before a storm. People stared. The ex-girlfriend. The one who'd been left behind. Chloe saw me too. Her smile flickered, just for a second, but then she straightened. She thought she'd won already. The ceremony began. Soft violins, expensive vows, everything planned to perfection. I sat in the back row, waiting. When the officiant said, "If anyone has any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now." I stood. My heels clicked against the marble aisle like gunshots. The crowd turned. Chloe's smile cracked like porcelain. "I do," I said, clear, strong, calm. Daniel's face went white. I reached into my clutch and pulled out a small black USB. The screen behind the altar flickered on. Images appeared, Chloe and her lover in New York. Hotel rooms. Text messages. People gasped. Chloe's father stood. Daniel's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I walked closer, my voice steady. "You called me weak, Chloe. But you see, weak people don't destroy entire empires." The next slide showed the documents, proof of financial fraud tied to her family's company. An email chain between Daniel and her father arranging hush money. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply pressed play. The guests whispered like wildfire. Reporters outside caught the chaos. Daniel turned to Chloe, betrayal written across his face. "You ruined me," she hissed at me when she lunged forward, but security held her back. I leaned in, close enough for only her to hear. "No, Chloe. You ruined yourself. I just let the world see it." The ceremony collapsed. Guests fled. Reporters swarmed. Chloe's father's empire began to crumble that very hour. Frozen accounts, leaked files. And me? I walked out of that place as calmly as I walked in. The world didn't cheer for me. They didn't need to. My victory was in her scream echoing behind me. They say revenge doesn't heal you. Maybe it doesn't. But it reminds you that you're not as powerless as they thought. Chloe called me weak. Now she calls me something else entirely. She thought the storm would come loud. But I came like silence. And silence? Silence ruins empires.